Alrighty. So a lot of people have been asking me what my thoughts were on the boycott to New York City because of the jackass indictment and final judgment against the real president of $364 million, which is outrageously stupid and insane, which is what the whole left is all about anyway. Yeah, I support the boycott to New York City. But the bad part about it is there's a lot of really good people in New York City, and they're going to suffer if things don't get there. But the only people that are really going to be able to do their boycotting are owner-operators, whether they're leased to a company or whether they are independent like myself with our own authority. And you know, of course, in any kind of boycott or truck shutdown, there's always going to be people that see the rates go up because you can't get trucks going in there, and then those guys take the loads anyway and they get better pay. So there's all kinds of things that happen. What I don't like is that the good people of New York, the ones that cannot get out of there, might suffer. And of course, the whole progressive Marxist communist left loves chaos. They always create a crisis, and it always ends up in some kind of chaos, which is what they live for. They love to bring chaos, division, disunity, whatever you want to call it, poverty, and their goal is to crash the economy anyway. But just like the people in East Palestine, Ohio, where they had that train wreck, and then the EPA quickly decided to burn off instead of clean up the mess, creating a much greater disaster. And that was all done on purpose because that's a conservative stronghold up there. That community was very red. And if you look at all the information available about that, that was on purpose. These idiots that are running New York City and allowing the cops to get beat up. Yeah, nothing pisses me off more than seeing lawlessness. And that, to me, that was ushered in when Obama became president. He was pretty much the one that ushered in lawlessness and a whole lot of disrespect for cops and animosity toward cops. So anyway, that's my perspective. But I actually stopped going to New York a long time ago. I used to make real good money going up there on the island. I had a good customer. I liked the guy. But eventually, the pain wasn't worth it. Bad, crappy roads, beating up your equipment. A lot of really bad drivers. Terrible traffic. Ungodly tolls on trucks. Typical $100, $125 on the bridges for the trucks. Not all the bridges, but enough of them. And my customer was good. He paid the tolls both ways. Paid a good rate to go up there. But, I don't know, a few years ago, I just decided I'm not going up there. And he asked me for a rate. I gave him a rate probably 2 or 3 times higher than what I normally did. And he said, man, I can't sell trees for that. And I felt for him. But in my mind, although I wouldn't tell him, I was like, man, you know what? Those people up there on the island, they got the money. If they want the trees, they can pay my rate. Of course, I didn't want to tell him that because I respected him, but I got no shed tears over them not getting their trees, because for the most part, and I did give him a warning. Now, my truck has all these Trump stickers on it. Says "End the Tyranny" on the hood, big red letters with the American and Canadian flag, just honoring what the Canadian truckers did. And the thing is, I told them, look, your customers up there on the island might not want to see my truck pulling in up to their house, all these mansions that get all these expensive trees. So as far as I'm concerned, screw them all. Anybody that's got their head stuck in the sand, progressive, communist, Marxists, They're the ones that create our problems. And I would guess for the most part, all those people, not all of them, but a lot of them on Long Island are just fully progressive, which I got no respect for them whatsoever. So actually, I like the people in New York City. There's a lot of good people there. I used to go there quite a bit. I had one job a long time ago where I would start my first stop in the morning in Manhattan at 4 in the morning. I had like 10 to 14 stops, usually 10 to 12, Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Bronx. And then I'd go back to Connecticut, do that every day. The risk in New York City of accidents is very, very high. So that's another factor. You got the tolls, you got the crappy roads, you got the intensely heavy traffic, and the risk of, hey, your truck breaks down, they're going to suck you dry in your wallet for any kind of towing or anything else that needed to be done. Thank God I never really had any breakdowns there that I couldn't fix myself. I do remember one time I was driving, this is back in the 80s, but I was driving a GMC Astro and pulling a reefer for a guy I was working for. I-95 down in New York, man, I had a problem. This guy came by in a little, short wrecker. He said, man, I'll get you a wrecker, man. And I said, no, that's all right. I'm going to fix this. He goes, oh, no, you can't do that, man. The cops are going to get you. And he said, you let me call a big wrecker now. I'll get you taken care of. I said, I'm not going to need a wrecker. He said, oh, yeah, you will. And, man, that's another story for another day. But I took care of that issue with the truck myself. Jacked up the cab, took the top of the transmission off, put the fork back in where it needed to go, closed the whole thing back up and got going again. And, there are thieves out there for sure, but there's a lot of good people in New York City, and I feel for them. So that's my take on New York, but I support the boycott, and I hope people just get more and more fed up and demand these communist Marxist bastards be kicked out of office. That's it for me on that subject.